Welcome back to a new video. Now, in today's video, I'll be going through exactly how you can make $500,000 in GCI as a real estate agent, right? In just 1 year, okay? Now, yes, it does sound like a big number, and it probably is. But to be able to kind of break this number down, you have to see what needs to be done in months. You have to know your numbers. You have to see what needs to be done weekly, daily, right? To be able to see how you can achieve this. Because trust me, if you win the days, you win the weeks. Once you win the weeks, you win the months. If you win enough months, you win the years, okay? So it's really simple. I'm going to go through that in this video. I'm going to go through all of the options that you have to be able to get to this and what would be the best one for you. Now, by the end of the video, you'll be able to know 5-6 different ways to get to that 500K in GCI and even beyond that. And then you'll be able to choose which one you want to go for and the best one that suits you. Let's get right into it, guys. So, first of all, I want you to figure out your numbers. Grab a notebook, grab some papers, grab a pen, just write it down, right? Figure out in your market, your area, where you operate, what is the average home price? Write that down. So we're going to go with $500,000. Figure out your commission. You already know this. Let's say it's 2%. This means that your average commission per home sold is $10,000. Now, your goal is $500,000. Now, you're free to put in whatever goal you have, but in this video, I'm going to show you for the $500,000. Now, what's needed is a yearly transactions of 50 homes. Break that down to 4 transactions every single month. On a closing rate of 30%, some people might be higher, but we want to be very considerate with these numbers to be able to see how easy it is to actually achieve this, or I should say how simple it is. Now, that would mean that you need around 14 monthly listing appointments, which is around 3 to 4 weekly listing appointments. Now, the question you should ask yourself is, how can you get 3 to 4 listing appointments per week? Let's get right into it. Now, the first one is something that most realtors already have and already rely on, which is their referral and sphere network, right? Now, a sphere and referral network is an absolute gold mine. Don't get it wrong, right? They're more than enough to keep you afloat and comfortable. A lot of realtors are just leveraging their sphere and are able to get to low 6 figures, $190,000 a year. But if you want to get to that high $500,000 a year and above, you kind of got to go into different ways, right? Now, there's only so many times you can work your sphere or rely on referrals. Like 1 month, you might feel on top of the world with 8 different listings, right? Like a lot of friends have friends that need to list. You have your parents know someone that needs to list. You have friends, right? So you might just get 8 listings in 1 month. But after that, you may start stressing and worrying because you don't know where your next listing will come from, right? It could be a week or it could even be several months away. I actually have a funny story. I was speaking with a realtor some days back. Spoke with him. I was like, hey man, how many transactions have you done this year, right? And he was like, yeah, I've done around 12. And I was like, okay, how many is that per month? And he was like, yeah, it was actually just 2 months. It was in January and February, the start of the year. After that, I haven't done any. And I was kind of like, what? How is that possible? Like, and then it turns out like he was just relying on referral and his sphere. But let's get further into it. So, since there's no reliable way to kind of track and know your numbers, these referrals should be seen as a bonus. It shouldn't be your main focus, and it shouldn't be something that you just rely on exclusively. Unless you're comfortable, right? Unless you don't want to grow, unless you don't want to make more money, unless you're comfortable with how you're going, and you're comfortable with the fact that you're not going to know when your next paycheck is coming in, then that's completely up to you. Then you can rely on your referrals and your sphere, and you'll be completely good, right? Now, the next one is actually cold calling, which is one of the better alternatives. It's much better than relying on just your sphere and your network. Now, the average conversion rate from calls to appointment is around 1.5%. And to hit your goals, you will need approximately 250 calls per week, which is around 42 calls per day over 6 days, right? And then if you consider how long that takes, like each conversation, it could take multiple hours, right? Now, this is manageable if you have the time or you have someone else managing this for you. However, if you're already booking listing appointments, sustaining this call volume daily can be very challenging. Now, you could have an ISA that can help by handling 150 plus calls per day on your behalf, allowing you to focus on the appointments, something that we have in our system. But other than that, it's very hard. Now, the next one is door knocking. Now, the average conversion rate from door knocks to sales is about 1%. And to secure around 3 to 4 listing appointments per week, you'll need to knock on approximately 400 doors weekly or around 67 doors daily. Now, this is already something that you probably wouldn't do because 67 doors daily, that's going to take you a lot of time. Could take around like 4 to 5 hours each day, depending on your market, location, and the season, right? And also you'll need the discipline and hustle to maintain this pace 6 days a week. Like for example, if something pops up, if you have a listing appointment, if you have 2 or 3 listing appointments, you will not be able to stay consistent with this and actually do it. So it's not something sustainable in the long term, right? The next one is actually organic content, which I love. Really promote organic content, and this is something that you definitely should do. Now, I highly recommend this approach for the long term. Growing an organic presence like a YouTube channel isn't something that shows immediate success. Just like my own channel, like you're probably watching this right now, I don't have immediate success on it. I have some views, I have some subscribers, but it's something that is going to grow in the long term. I guarantee you, watch back in 6 months and you'll be shocked, right? Because I know it's a nurturing process. I know it's a long-term game, and that's what you want to play with organic content. It's difficult to track numbers and pinpoint exactly what needs to be adjusted to achieve specific goals. Instead, you can think of it as building an empire of assets, because each post, it adds value over time. Now, think about it. A video you post today, or a video you post years ago, could today still bring in business, right? You could post a market update of Arizona, for example, 6 years ago, and then it just pops up on the algorithm and somebody watches it and they're like, okay, that's pretty good. And then because of that video, they go into your channel, they see your other videos, and then they decide to talk with you. So you really don't know where the business is coming from. It's just something that is in the long term. It's just as a bonus, just like referrals and the spheres, right? And it's very similar to the effect of seeing a Starbucks or McDonald's ad like regularly, right? You may not notice any one ad, but eventually you'll be drawn to stop by for a coffee or a burger. Like this, for example. You're walking, like this looks like Times Square, I would assume. You're walking around in Times Square and you see a McDonald's ad and you're like, oh, I want to eat a burger, right? Or like this one, but the thing with this is that they don't know which specific ad brought you in, but it's very powerful for brand awareness. Again, these companies don't need to be very specific with their numbers because they're multi-billion-dollar companies, right? They don't require to know the ins and outs of every single thing. But for you as a real estate agent or for any other business looking to grow to that 1 million, 2 million a year, you have to know the ins and out and exactly numbers to be able to hit what you want to hit, because you can kind of backtrack what you need to do, right? And this is similar to the referral or CV strategy that I went to, right? It's highly effective and I definitely recommend it, but it's something where it will happen after a long amount of time, and it's just as a bonus, right? Now, however, posting consistent is crucial to be able to make this work. It could require at least 10 to 14 posts per week across multiple platforms for 2 to 3 years before it actually starts to pay off. Now, what's really good for you is that you can just go ahead and into my channel. I have a lot of videos showing you exactly how you can post 10 to 14 posts per week across multiple platforms by just spending like 1 to 2 hours per week. So this should be a problem for you. This is something that I definitely recommend you to do. Again, as a bonus, not something that you should prioritize everything into, right? Now, the last one, favorite one, not to be very, like, I don't know, not to be very specific for it, but it's paid ads, right? This is the best one. Now, the average cost per lead that we see with our ads on YouTube is around $40 with a 60% lead to appointment rate. What that means is that by spending around $1,000 a month, you can expect to generate around 25 leads, which then leads to 15 appointments per month, which is then equivalent to 3 to 4 listing appointments per week, which is exactly what you're looking for. Now, this results in approximately 4 closing per month, considering a 30% closing rate, which is then $40,000 in monthly revenue, giving you a 40x return on investment. Now, however, achieving these results require strong back-end systems, right, to effectively manage the leads and ensure a high appointment rate. It's not as easy as it seems. It is quite simple. Now, your success on YouTube ads depend on skilled video creation, management, which is the hardest part, like the technical side, and then actually the back end of converting 60% of those leads into appointments, which is something that we've been able to crack because we've been in the industry. We've been doing this for multiple years, so we know how to do it. But for someone to kind of start off and do it from themselves, it's going to take a lot of failure, a lot of setbacks to be able to get those results, and it's going to take ultimately a lot of time. Now, without these elements, it's very easy to see how you could waste $1,000 per month, which is not ideal, right? So this is the only way where you're at the risk of wasting more money than anything else. But if you're able to do it correctly, you're able to make more money, which is why it's kind of a risk unless you actually know what you're doing. Now, that's exactly why this method is best, but also the most challenging. you won't find a 40x return on investment anywhere else. You can't do door knocking, you can't do cold calling. You probably needed a team of like hundreds of people to be able to get the same results with cold calling, like literally anywhere else, right? And that's why the barrier to entry is so high, and that's why it's possible to get these returns, because it's difficult, right? It is a straightforward approach, but yet it's very hard to make it work. It's not easy, it's not a simple process. And that's kind of where we come in, right? We handle everything for you so you don't have to lift a finger. Now, take a look at it, all the strategies we outlined and how you can get to that 500K in GCI, and then see which one would work best for you. Now, if you don't want to do cold calling, don't want to do door knocking, don't want to do any of the other type of prospecting, that's kind of where we come in. Like, if you'd like for us to build out these backend systems for you and then get 2 to 4 listings every single month, click on the first link below in the description, and you'll be able to schedule a 50-minute free strategy session with myself, where I'll be going to do exactly this for you. Now, other than that, if you have enjoyed this video, you got a lot of value from it, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, and also leave a comment if you have any questions in regards to the systems, anything, whatever it is, and I'll be sure to go ahead and answer any requirements and every questions, right? So hope you guys enjoyed. Wish you guys the best, and stay tuned for the next video. All right.